Restart the video. I hope you have a good morning, good afternoon, a good night. And let's talk about the temporal lobe nature of the brain. So first, let's start with the definition. Each of the parietal lobes of the brain lie beneath the temples, including areas concerned with the understanding of speech. So I'm gonna repeat that one more time. Each of the parietal lobes of the brain lie beneath the temples, including areas concerned with the understanding of speech. So now let's talk about the function of the temporal lobe. The function of the temporal lobe centers around auditory stimulation, memory, emotions of the temporal lobe contains the primary auditory complex. This is the first area responsible for interpreting information in the form of sounds from the ears. So now let's talk about if your temporal lobe, what happens when your temporal lobe get damaged and what's the causes of that. Alzheimer's disease, certain forms of amnesia, brain lesions, brain tumors, carbon monoxide poisoning. So now I want to talk about the purpose of me making this video. Seizures of the temporal lobe can have dramatic effects on an individual's personality. Temporal lobe epilepsy.
This is the correct answer. This man has a type of epilepsy known as temporal lobe epilepsy. Most people know epilepsy as being a condition which causes fits where people have jerking movements of their arms or legs. But in temporal lobe epilepsy, the seizure activity is in a specific part of the brain, the temporal lobes, and this type of epilepsy causes people to have seizures where they may be vacant or appear to be staring off into space. As the seizure is coming on, people can experience unusual smells like smelling burnt rubber or burnt leather. This is what we call an olfactory aura, sometimes called olfactory hallucinations. Olfactory hallucinations are actually relatively rare in psychiatric conditions like schizophrenia. They're more common in neurological conditions like epilepsy. During the seizures, people can experience a sense of deja vu, and because the temporal lobes are involved in processing emotions, people can also experience extremes of emotions like panic, sadness, or aggression. As the seizures continue, people can experience psychotic symptoms like paranoia and delusions, which start a few days after the seizure. So temporal lobe epilepsy can be confused with psychotic conditions like schizophrenia. He'll need an MRI scan and an EEG or electroencephalogram, which measures brain waves to confirm the diagnosis. The main treatment is going to be anti-epileptic medications to control the seizures.
Can cause preservative speech, paranoia, and aggressive rages. I'm gonna say that one more time. Preservative speech, paranoia, and aggressive rages. Damage to the temporal lobe can cause a number of personality changes like emotional changes and interpersonal changes and self-image changes. So if you know me, like I kind of like talk about like psychology and different things like that. So that's kind of like the purpose of me making this video, because it have different effects on your personality. Feel me? And it's different parts of your temporal lobe. Like you got a right part of your temporal lobe, and you got a frontal temporal lobe. But I ain't gonna get into all that because it's like that's a lot. And the temporal lobe is an important part. So that's why I really kind of talk about this, because like I said, it's concerned with the understanding of speech, but not just only that, your memory and your emotions. So that's one thing. Now I hope you have a good morning, a good afternoon, and a good night. Like this video if you enjoyed it. And if I post this on TikTok, share this video. And if I post this on TikTok, repost it.